This has Rangers fans very concerned. Lafrenière has been dreadful, Trocheck is hurt again, and fans don't believe Berard will get a real opportunity on this Rangers roster. In this video, we'll discuss the Blue Shirts' plan for Berard and some important updates out of morning skate on another sizzling edition of Rangers Digest. Welcome back to Rangers Digest. We are built for Blue Shirt fandom, and I'm your host, Bret Botfeld. It is great to be back with you guys on this beautiful Monday, the 24th of November. We have a ton to talk about, including tonight's matchup against the St. Louis Blues, along with why the Rangers need Alexis Lafrenière now more than ever, along with Brett Berard. What is his role on the Blue Shirts roster? But before we break it all down, a quick reminder to go smash that subscribe button. About 72% of you who currently watch these videos are still unsubscribed to the channel, so please go down below, hit that free subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it so you can stay up to date with everything happening New York Rangers, because guys, this is the place to be for all your daily New York Rangers content. Let's waste no more time and hop right into the video. So the New York Rangers, like I spoke about yesterday, guys, make sure you guys go check out that video. They begin Thanksgiving week looking up at the rest of the Metropolitan Division after losing their past 4 games, their longest losing streak of the season, and completing a 0-3 road trip with a 3-2 loss to the Utah Mammoth on Saturday. Now look, guys, the Rangers are not only last in the Metro, they are 15th in the weaker Eastern Conference. Not only that, but that magic, that pizzazz that the Rangers seem to have on the road, it is gone. So it is important right now, more than ever before, to start winning games on home ice, because that magic on the road has run out. I've said it here on the channel. It simply wasn't sustainable to play at the pace that the Rangers were playing earlier in the year on the road. Now, the Rangers have a golden opportunity tonight. They take on the St. Louis Blues, who swept a 2-game season series from them last year. Obviously, that's not great, but the Garden has never been one of their favorite stops around the NHL. The Rangers are 51-16-1 with 6 ties at home against the Blues, which entered the NHL in 1967. The Blues are catching the Rangers at the same point in the schedule that they did last year on the Monday before Thanksgiving, and the first game back after a trip out west. So like I said, the Rangers did get swept by St. Louis last year. Obviously, St. Louis went on a run last year towards the end of the season. But this year, it's a completely different story right now. The Blues are not a juggernaut. They have their own issues. I mean, they're 7-9-5, I believe, or 7-9-6 with only about 20 points. So the Blues have plenty of issues themselves. Tonight is a real opportunity, despite all the injuries, which we'll get into later, for the Rangers to get a win on home ice. It has to start here tonight. Obviously, they won't be doing it with JT Miller. He's out, who really seemed to get in a groove right before getting injured again. Now, you know, the Rangers weren't doing great with JT Miller on the roster. Now it's going to be even harder for them to up their game. Sort of a similar situation like we saw a team in the Nashville Predators, you know, the only win the Rangers were able to get at home so far this year. You know, Nashville, without their captain, Roman Josi, you know, they simply look dysfunctional. The Rangers, a similar situation. The other night against Utah, the only line that was productive was the Vincent Trocheck line. It looks like the Rangers are going to be without him as well. More on that later. But man, without JT Miller, that only makes the task taller. It only makes the climb higher, and it's going to be difficult because the Rangers look even more like a dysfunctional mess without their captain on the ice. And that leads me to my next point. The Rangers need Lafrenière more than ever. Is he going to deliver? Probably not. Fans are furious over him. Obviously, that's been that way for the last few seasons outside of the 23-24 season. But look, Lafrenière has gone ice cold again. Stone cold Steve Austin, the first player taken in the 2020 NHL draft, is pointless in his past 5 games and has just 12 points in 23 games. I mean, a half point per game player. What is that? A former number 1 overall pick? I mean, it hurts even more when you look at the Macklin Celebrinis of the world, when you look at the Connor Bedards and the Matthew Schaefers of the world. Why can't we have one of our own? Lafrenière has been a major disappointment this season, but the Rangers need him right now more than ever. They need him to step up. That leads me to my next point. let's look at the morning skate lines from Vince Mercogliano. This is what the Rangers ran out there. Look at Lafrenière on that first line. I know there are some injuries, but even when everybody's healthy, Lafrenière is in the top 6. And guys, let's be honest. Lafrenière is not a legit top 6 player on a postseason team. The Rangers can't rely on this guy. He hasn't been reliable. He hasn't had any pop and sizzle in his game. It's a shame to see it, but man, he goes from hot to cold, hot to cold, hot to cold, and a lot more cold than he is hot. But the Rangers need him now, you know, like I said, more than ever. I feel like I've said that like 7 times in this video. But moving on to the second line, Juuso Parssinen and Johnny Brodzinski. Look, like I said, there are some injuries. Obviously, they have to move up to the second line. But even when everybody's healthy, they're on the third line. And nothing against Parssinen, nothing against Brodzinski. But I don't even view them as legit top 9 players on a playoff team. But unfortunately for the Rangers and Chris Drury, that is, you know, the roster construction he put together. Guys like Parssinen, guys like Brodzinski, guys like Connor Sherry, more on him later, playing in the top 9. It's not what legit postseason teams have, you know, on their third line. But for the Rangers, it is. You can see Brett Berard, you know, it is cool to see him finally called back up, getting the start tonight on that third line. Let's hear what he had to say about the call-up. So, you know, Brett Berard was the last player cut from Rangers training camp. Multiple forwards like Brennan Othman, Gabe Perreault, etc. got the call before him. He was pointless in his first 5 games in the AHL, but he has been much better as of late. You can see him here talking about it. I kind of lost a little confidence there the first few games. It was hard to kind of get my game back in rhythm, but I think it was also good and challenged my mental toughness too, to kind of go through a little funk, a little adversity like that at the start of the year. So I think it was good, and especially the last 2 weeks, I've really felt confident in my game. And guys, he really has 9 points in his last 12 games, getting called up at the perfect time. But how long is he going to be here? Probably not that long. More on that later. Let's hear what Sullivan had to say. So here's Sullivan on what he's looking for from Berard. The role that he'll play is an energy guy that can be disruptive, get in on the forecheck, help with our team speed. But along with that, it becomes just the importance of playing a team game and attention to detail away from the puck in particular. You know, you could pause and read the whole quote if you'd like to. It's a long quote, but basically calling Berard a spark. And what I've noticed is he speaks about Brett Berard the same way he does Connor Sherry. But what Mikey, you know, failed to talk about here is that Berard can actually score the puck. I spoke about it yesterday. His last 85 games, Connor Sherry only has 4 freaking goals. Brett Berard, with a torn shoulder in only a small sample size, 35 games, scored 6 goals. So better than Connor Sherry in less games with a messed up shoulder. I almost dropped the F-bomb, with a torn shoulder. So, you know, he failed to mention that Brett Berard can actually put the puck between the pipes. Now, NYR Louis made a great point on X. It's legitimately hard to get excited about watching Brett Berard tonight. Why? Because it really doesn't matter what he does, guys. There is a near 0% chance that the Rangers don't send him down the second JT Miller is good to go. So like I said, Berard is probably going to be here for a cup of joe, for a cup of coffee, like Brennan Othman was. Let's stick him and bury him down on that third line, get about 12 minutes out of him, and then when the captain is back, let's send him back down. That's not a real opportunity, Mike. That's not a legit chance. So it's hard to get pumped up about Brett Berard being here. It really is. Now, Colin Stevenson with the update. Igor Shesterkin was the first goalie off at morning skate, so it looks like he will be starting in net tonight for the Rangers. I don't know if FTR means for the Rangers or for the record. I just found that kind of funny. I guess it doesn't really matter. You could use it either way. But, you know, on the opposing side, Joel Hofer was in the starter's crease at morning skate for the Blues. And guess what, guys? You're going to love this. He's 2-0 in 2 games with a 2.00 goals against average and .930 save percentage in his career versus the Rangers. So this feels like deja vu, guys. This feels like Charlie Lindgren, Stuart Skinner, Archer Schlivas, and Kochetkov, who we'll see there in a few days. This feels like deja vu. Another goalie with the name Joel Hofer. I mean, what a name, Hofer. You know, coming into the world's most famous arena and going to put on a show. It's big, beautiful debut on Broadway under the bright lights. So, man, I really hope that's not the case. I hope that doesn't happen. But, you know, you just get a little deja vu when you hear the name Joel Hofer and how good he's been against the Blue Shirts here. Update from Remy. Mike Sullivan did confirm that Vincent Trocheck is a game time decision for tonight's game. And guys, that just makes matters even worse. You know, when it rains, it pours. It really does. You know, JT Miller's out. Vincent Trocheck is out again, probably. Will Borgen's still out. I mean, the blue line doesn't look as strong without Borgen on it. You got Soucy and Schneider. I freaking hate that line, you know, as a pair. I like Schneider individually and Soucy with Borgen, but man, it just looks yucky on that blue line. But yeah, Trocheck is a game time decision. And that leads me to my last point. Trevor Zegras, guys. Remember, you know, we've spoken about Zegras here on the channel and spoke about maybe the Rangers pursuing him while he was in Anaheim. And look, I remember here on the channel, everybody talking about, oh, the Rangers, it's more of the same. It's, you know, they have plenty of depth up the middle. That's their strongest position, and he's an unproven player. All this, that, and a third, all that nonsense. Well, where has that depth gotten them, guys? It's gotten them, they look like a pile of shit. Pardon my French, but it looks awful. It stinks. It smells. You know, you look at the center position, right? All the center icemen, right? You got JT Miller dealing with injury the entire year. They move along to Vincent Trocheck dealing with injury the entire year. What do you expect? These are older players. And then you have Mika Zibanejad, who's healthy, playing all right, but talking about how the team is disconnected. You don't want to see that. So where has that depth gotten them? Having a guy like Zegras on this team would have been great. You know, look at what he's doing in Philadelphia. Point per game player, turning that franchise around. But hopefully the Rangers will identify a player of their own that has some youth, that has them spark, that could turn this roster around. But that's going to do it here today. I know I got into a lot of jam-packed video, but there's a lot of updates and a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about. I'm fascinated to hear what you guys have to say. Leave a comment in the comment section down below because the conversation always continues over there. Let me know your score predictions for tonight's game. And Brett Berard, is he getting a real shot here? Or is he just going to be here for a cup of coffee? And Connor Sherry, even if he doesn't have a goal on Christmas Day, you know, it's Christmas morning and Connor Sherry still hasn't scored a goal, yet he will still be on this Rangers roster. So leave that comment down below. Is Berard going to get a real shot? Or once JT Miller is back, will he get called down and Connor Sherry will still be on this Rangers roster? Let us know how you feel. And if you haven't yet, hit that free subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything happening New York Rangers. Enjoy the game tonight, guys. Hopefully we can get our second win at home. Take care.